Okay, we are live. Um, Hello, everybody. My name is Eric Klopper, and I am the president of Intact Global, right? And Intact Global, which we have some swag right here, is hosting its inaugural conference, March 29 to 31 in Portland, Oregon, right? And we are day 25 into our lives, 25 days consistently, right? And the reality is, well, why were we live streaming? Well, we wanted to ensure that the intactivist movement, people who want to protect children from genital cutting violence at birth, that they knew that this event was going to go on and that they should buy a ticket, because at the end we're going to be suing the state of Oregon on constitutional grounds. And the reality is, we wanted to make sure we sold enough tickets and that you guys were aware. Well, the truth is, tickets are just about sold out. We got 4 left. And mission accomplished, baby. So good evening, Jake. Great to see you. If I can find you here. Oh, there you are. Hello, Jake. Yeah, so we sold the tickets we needed to sell. And it will be a great success, right? We've got about 11 attorneys speaking. The site hasn't reflected that yet, just because, I've been working a lot, as has been our web developers. So we will do that when we can. But we've got a fully booked schedule, and there's actually more speakers than are listed there. And it's going to be a great event, right? And there's going to be a lot of, I should say, coordination, a lot of strategy, a lot of how do we work together effectively? Because there's a lot of people there who, believe very, very, very different things and do not agree on a lot. But we do agree that we should be protecting children from genital mutilation, right? So that's the big event, right? Intact Global. And the tickets are sold, right? It's all she wrote. We paid for the press conference today and all the add-ons and the electricity and the setups and the tent and the podium and you name it. As Brother K, I appreciate that. Congratulations. Harvard did me a favor. You're absolutely right? Getting fired from Harvard was extremely helpful in the long run. I've got Marcus Aurelius's quote up on the other side of my office. It says, what stands in the way becomes the way, right? So it's like, okay, Harvard, now instead of being an ally, you are now the way. And so even though that lawsuit was not heard by the federal court, it taught me how to perform federal and appellate litigation all the way up to the Supreme Court. So it was really helpful. And we were the #1 petition in 2023. So yeah, Harvard, I appreciate where you kind of pushed my journey. That was very helpful. I know that wasn't the intent. That's okay. We love Brother K. I appreciate that, Alex. There is a legend in the audience, right? So Brother K, we appreciate your protest going on the other side of the US, right? We got the bi-coastal event. I think, maybe for 10 years or so, correct me if I'm wrong, there's been a circumcision protest, male genital mutilation protest in front of the Capitol building the last weekend of March, right? Which I actually, so I guess it's a bi-coastal intactivist event. Now we're hoping that Intact Global will be hosting more press conferences than just this first one at the end of its, first conference. Because we're looking for plaintiffs in other states to sue, to proliferate this equal protection litigation. It is totally doable. It is totally achievable. And it's going to happen. And what we're going to see is, as Osha Burr says, Harvard champion of the Streisand effect in intactivism. Exactly. See, the Streisand effect, for those of you who don't know, Barbara Streisand complained about a magazine posting where she lived, and that complaint, that fighting it, became a national story, right? And so because she tried to, let's say, quelch or silence this thing, it became much bigger than it was would have originally been. And you could argue that the Harvard reaction, say, oh, silence, quiet, fire, terminate, cancel, that message actually makes it bigger. And what we'll probably do is republish the Harvard performance on X, maybe republish it on YouTube. I don't know kind of what the rules are around that. I'll look into it. In Ocean Birth, we should look into that as well. So anyway, I guess we have 4 tickets left, so we might as well hawk them. Right? So let me tell you guys where we are at, and this will be a pretty short live because how should I say, I'm pretty tired. I bought a whole new wardrobe today, so that's nice. One of my clients is like, you know, best of the best designer, like principal designer of Cartier for a while, does his own stuff now. I helped him out big time, but anyway, he helped me buy a new wardrobe, so that'll be good. But yeah, so here's the conference link, Ocean Birth. So you probably can click that. Let me know in the link below. But what happens is when you do click that link, let me show you kind of what's going on here. So click that link below. You'll go to the conference page. And again, we've got 4 tickets left before we sell out. So already a raging success, right? Like we went gangbusters on this, and we've got 9 days before the conference and we're already well past our metrics. So like, if you care about this movement and you want to see children be protected from having parts of their genitals literally ripped off of their bodies at birth, which is like, it's like beyond wicked and heinous, right? It's like, how can we do the worst thing possible to an infant, right? So if you want to stop that, this is the event to go to. So anyway, I plugged in that URL, and here you got the Intact Global's conference page, right? March 29 to 31. So that's 9 days, right? A week plus 2 days. It's in Portland, Oregon, and it will be part of our first constitutional challenge. I've been in touch with our local council lately, and we got to just get some final things done. I've been preparing for a big trial right after it, so I'm doing as much as I can. I got another defense case where everyone's like, Eric, what's your client doing? I was like, they're chilling, right? Relax. But anyway, but yeah, this press conference will be launching our first constitutional challenge on equal protection grounds, essentially arguing, look, it's great that you protect baby girls from genital cutting, genital mutilation, but your constitution in Oregon prohibits sex-based discrimination. And if you have an anti-female genital mutilation law, it is on its face only protects females, and your constitution prohibits that. So we should correct that sex discrimination and just protect all children equally, right? And we'll see where that goes. As Brother K says, well, as Professor Leonard Glick says, the genital cutting of children, boys and girls, is fundamentally evil. And I know that I certainly believe that. Brother K believes that. And, Leonard Glick as well, who wrote a really great book on this, and I think got his PhD in cultural anthropology and genital cutting, if I remember correctly. That was his kind of mission to stop, and we're here to kind of carry the baton forward, right? That's what we're doing. Is look, this is a fundamental evil in our society. It truly is, and it's so obvious too. And it takes a moving effort to mutilate an infant. It's not like, oh, baby comes out. It's like, okay, well, strap him to a board and rip off the most sensitive part of his body. That's totally outrageously. It's lunacy on its face, is what it is. It flies in the face of the scientific, medical, and ethical consensus of every secular medical organization on the planet, right? Because American Academy of Pediatrics literally retracted their lukewarm recommendation 8 years ago. Practically a decade ago. It was indefensible. Talk about an indefensible document. So anyway, as Faustine Spirit says, are there any congressmen or senators that support legislation to ban male genital mutilation? I can't remember who it was. Maybe in California was when I was in Massachusetts. Someone who ran for it. I was like, what's your position on circumcision? She goes, oh, well, I'm against it if it's forced on someone else. I was like, okay, you got my vote. The reality is we're going to make this into an issue real soon. And as Brother K says, Professor Glick was also a physician. He worked for the Army in 1959 and did the entry physical for Elvis Presley, who was intact. I've wondered whether that encounter made him think about circumcision. I don't know. Maybe it did. Maybe it didn't. I'm hoping that I'm not frozen. You guys let me know. But anyways, what's going on at the lawsuit? So here is where you buy your tickets, right? Because really what we're trying to do now is we got 4 tickets to sell. We might as well sell them. Let's get sold out. So you could buy your ticket here. You could buy your ticket there. When you click on the ticket link, you go to Ticket Tailor, right? And you should register for the lawsuit announcement on Monday. That's free. Won't set you back anything. It's only $200, and you get 2 catered dinners. a buffet dinner, or 2 catered lunches, excuse me, a buffet dinner, coffee and drinks throughout, and maybe some snacks in the afternoon. So yeah, like you're going to get more in food than you are for the ticket, but we wanted to make sure this was sold out and it didn't price anyone out. But also we couldn't carry the entire thing. It just wouldn't be, it wouldn't be in the nonprofit mission, because we want to push this forward, right? So we can't just like cater people for free. So it's $200. So go a very long way. It's a great hotel. So anyways, if you buy one of the last 4 $200 tickets, you'll get general admission, right? And so here you're going to hear from leading lawyers, activists, thought leaders for 2 full days of presentations, networking, strategic planning, you name it. It's at the Sentinel Hotel, which is Portland's famous hotel. It used to be called the Governor. It's actually beautiful, beautiful architecture, both outside and inside. It's really got a good look and feel. It's going to look good in person. It's going to feel good in person. It's going to look good online. We've got 3 professional videographers going out there and a live streamer as well, Ocean Birth. I'm talking about you, so thank you. And, we'll see if other people can help as well. I think that's a reasonable expectation. But yeah, it's a beautiful hotel. We've got a room block. We've sold the minimum, so that's great. So I won't hawk it as bad, but it's $40 off a night if you go through Intact Global's room block. And I'd recommend you do that. You can just click right here, or the group rate book discounted rooms right here, right? So anyway, but yeah, and here is the lineup, right? There's minor modifications, but we're going to open the doors at 8 a.m. So, say hi to your old friends, make new friends, say, oh, you're here. This is what you do. This is how we're going to work together. You name it, right? Rachel, great to see you. Anyway, I'm going to put the conference link up. And so Intact Global's board members are going to give some talks like, look, this is what the nonprofit does. This is why we are well positioned. And, we're working together with other intactivist groups as well. Like GALDEF will be there with Tim Hammond. Doctors Opposing Circumcision will be there with their executive director, John Geishiker. Tony Lasquardo, executive director of Intaction, will be there. We're going to have other, let's say, key players and interest groups represented in the first day. And that's the second half of the first day, right, that I just said. Carrie Cantrell is going to talk about the intersex interest in our work, right? Because, yes, maybe 70, or I would say probably 50-ish or so % of boys are circumcised in the U.S., and it's probably 10 to 15% in Oregon, which means only 7.5 to 5% of children are genitally cut in Oregon, right? So that's like a really small percentage, especially nationwide. It's actually much larger than European nations, but it's a great place to start, because it's not like a ruling in the favor of plaintiffs is going to affect that many people. In fact, it's going to help a lot of children who'd be genitally cut, but for this positive development, right, in our constitutional law, that all children deserve to be equally protected, right? That's really what we're doing. It's a very simple argument. It's very concise. It's compelling. It's constitutionally coherent. It's like, oh, you can't just carve out protections for baby girls from having the parts of their genitals cut off at birth. It's like, no, every child gets to grow up with the body that they were born with, that God gave them with, that evolution bestowed upon them, that the history of the universe gave you. And it's nobody's right to say, look, that penis makes me uncomfortable, I'm going to cut off a big piece of it, right? Or any piece of it, because you can't do that with vulvas, nor should you be able to, right? And this is not some fringe theory. It is what the vast majority of the world practices, except like 2 religions who believe it's a divine commandment. And we're not talking about that right now. We're just talking about what's best for, the majority of Americans. So anyway, that's what's going on the first day. Sorry, I'm just looking at some chats. Will the live stream be on this channel? Great question, Rachel. And yes, it will be. So anyway, going back to the actual conference schedule, we'll wrap this up quickly. Sunday is going to be the Intact Litigator Day, right? So all lawyers, people who've been in the movement for, I think Martin, maybe 50 years. Zenas did, fundamental constitutional litigation similar to this over 30 years ago, right? So, he tried to pioneer this before it was like, before we had the critical mass in society, which I appreciate. And honestly, when gay marriage got up to the Supreme Court the first time, the justices said, I'm not sure what decade this was, but it certainly wasn't in 2015 when it became a federal right, right? Became a constitutional right. But 30 years prior, the justice said, you know what, this is not even a question. We're not even going to give it any consideration or discussion because we don't even think it is conceivable that non-heterosexual people can marry, right? And now it's the law of the land. So, things change, and things have changed big time in the 30 or so years that Zenas tried to bring a similar challenge. So he's the legend for being a trailblazer, and we're going to hear what he has to say. Peter Adler, who I work closely with in litigation, he's going to talk about circumcised, can I sue? I think that might be the title. Brad Kane, I had dinner with Brad tonight. He's doing great, but he's going to talk about the happy warrior philosophy, right? Like, okay, what's the messaging that wins, right? Not the messaging that makes you feel emotionally validated that you're right about the genital cutting of infants, but what is the messaging that will actually get our movement to prevail, in the immediate future, right? So that's what's going on. As Jake says, okay, glad to hear, Jake. And then after we're going to hear from Deborah Shagian after our second catered lunch. And she's going to talk about her growing up in a conservative Jewish household. And if you're watching this, Deborah, I think, I will get back to your text soon. My phone is a total mess. I just turned it on silent because people were fighting. And I was like, dude, I can't deal with this. I've got, things that are going on. So, and it's not her, but she's awesome. So I'm hoping to do a live stream with Deborah again tomorrow. We'll see where things are at. And then John Siller will be the last speaker, who I've learned so much from, and he's the one who inspired me to become an attorney. But he's got, one, he'll watch the actual talks and kind of like integrate them together. It'll be something you watch. It's, we got good people speaking. Trust me, I organized this event. And plus, then I don't have to design a 16-hour talk, right? And then I'm going to just talk about, okay, it's going to be called, what is it going to be called? The future of intactivism, right? We're going to switch those up. I've got a different title for the first talk. But we're just going to talk about, okay, what are the outcomes for the movement? And it really kind of depends on how much support we get. And, obviously a big part of it's funding, right? So if you want to support, right, 100 people giving $100 a month will go a very long way for this movement. We could probably sue 2 states, at all times with just 100 professionals giving like that type of stipend per month. It won't hurt you that much if you care about this. And, if you had a big part of your body cut off without your consent, you probably should care. And also babies are dying, getting named every day. So it's, it's a big deal. But yeah, so I'm going to talk about, what can we reasonably expect in 1 year or 5 years, depending on internet, if you come through on this, because we're doing the work at Intact Global, right? And we're coordinating with other intactivist groups. We want to work together, and we want to, let's say, mobilize this movement into an effective advocacy group. And we can do that, but we have to work together. We have to put our differences aside, and we have to litigate like across the nation. We're going to start in Oregon. It's a great place to start, but it's not where we end, right? I mean, my law firm could probably mount another lawsuit of this magnitude. And let's say this is March 31st. So maybe June 31st, the earliest, certainly by July. I mean, it depends. Do we have our plaintiffs? Do we have our local counsel? How committed are the local counsel, right? Because my litigation probably, or my law firm could probably litigate cheaper just because we don't charge as much. But my team's only so big, right? So after 2 lawsuits, it's going to be a little unruly because I got other cases as well. So anyway, Winston the Butterfly, great to see you. Yeah, please share my play. I might repost it. We'll see. Share my channel. Talk about the conference on your social media. We got 4 tickets. We're trying to sell out. So, when in Rome, sell out your conference. Yeah, let's get this algorithm bumping, because once we start live streaming this whole thing, it's going to be new novel ideas, coherent thoughts, analysis. Okay, where are we? How do we get to the victory line, which is protecting all children? And then on March 31st, we'll live stream the whole press conference, and it will be, we're on the board, and we're making this very serious constitutional challenge, and this very serious and compelling argument that, look, it straight up violates the Constitution to only protect baby girls from genital cutting, right? You got to protect all children equally. It's a totally sane, rational, reasonable argument in line with biology, ethics, medicine, what we believe about informed consent, bodily autonomy, sexual autonomy. So, this is not rocket science. It's just time. It's time. And Oregon's a great place to start. So that's what we're going to do. And as Alex Vital says, it will start in Oregon and end in every clinic in the world. Totally agree. As Kaylee says, why does the mission specifically say non-religious rather than all genital mutilation? Great question, Callie. Well, Intact Global's mission is to stop non-religious genital mutilation. Right? And say, my mission and Intact Global's mission are identical, but we have a lot of great overlap. And the reality is, and I talked about this in many other streams, and you could go back and look, but if you're going to challenge a religious practice, there's a higher standard to, let's say, get it declared unlawful or unconstitutional. But if you're just talking about a secular medical procedure, that higher standard doesn't apply. And, you don't jump to the top of the staircase at once. You go to the first stair, and then you go to the second stair. And that's probably all the stairs there are, right? In this metaphor. But that's to answer your question. So anyways, have a great night, everybody. Hope you buy one of the 4 remaining tickets. And I will see some of you in Portland, Oregon next weekend. All right.